Okay, now let's get into the drawing factor. Take a look at our ribbons up here. Notice modeling is over here. Everything under this word cylinder, and they will rotate up to the last one you used, is automatically in 3D. We still can do our drawings, but we need to make all of our drawings that we do ready to be for 3D. So these are our drawings, and these here will be some modifications we're going to use. I really want you to understand how this UCS thing works, okay? Now, first things first before we can get into here, let's come here and put this in the top. And now notice, top and world are exactly the same. World can save you if you get lost with your UCS. It'll put it back to its original state. Now, we're in the top. So if we come over here and we click on cylinder, we just come into our drawing and I just pick a point and drag it out. It looks like I'm drawing a circle, which I am. But notice how it's on the actual paper, because look where the X and Y. The X and Y is that plane. It's flat. So once I pick my X and Y, now it's asking me for my Z. If I'm coming up with the Z, you see how the Z is coming up? It's a positive number. If I go down from my Z, it's a negative number. So I'm going to bring it up. So think of this as a soda can. Now, this really doesn't show you too much about 3D, so let's come up here to this where it says 2D wireframe. All this does is handle the controls. It makes you see things differently. See, we have conceptual. We can come up here and say hidden, where you don't see the lines behind it. You've got realistic, so whatever materials you added to it will show. Shaded. It goes in. Yeah, there's some silly things here like sketchy. Please don't draw on sketchy. That's just for a final thing if you have to turn in. X-ray. Some students like X-ray. X-ray kind of bothers my eyes, but that's your choice. But I'm going to go to conceptual. Now, with conceptual, notice when you're in a shaded mode of some sort, look at the UCS. It turns colors, which is very helpful so you know where you're doing, what you're doing, where you're at. So that's in our top. Look at the XY. So let's come here and change from the top, and we're going to come to the front. See how the UCS flipped over like that? And we have the X and Y. I'm going to come this time, and now check out how this cylinder is going to draw. Look at the way it is on the side. It looks like the soda can's laying on the side, and in our front view, you would see the circle this time. Now, let's go ahead and come over here and go over to the right side view. With the right side view, I'm going to take the cylinder, and I'm going to go pick over here. Now check out how it's going this direction. So once again, there's our X and Y, so you can actually see it. So remember, this little guy right here really helps you doing quick things when you need to turn things. So this is extremely helpful. I'm going to put myself back to the top. Now, I do want to make you aware of one of our snaps that we have that really can cause us some problems. If you're an advanced student and you understand the UCSs and you understand how things are going, this may be helpful. But if you're trying to do things in specific ways, this will not help. See this one right here? It's called Dynamic UCS, and it's actually your F6. So you can toggle and make sure that's off. I kind of jokingly call this the Harry Potter one because it has a little lightning bolt in it. If that one is turned on, what happens is when we go to touch different planes, this UCS will actually snap and give you what it thinks you need, but it's not always what you actually need. So that is the basics with the UCS. We have some other UCSs up here that are absolutely amazing to have, and they're extremely helpful. We're going to go into that in a few minutes. Let me come over here and get an actual box so I can have a box so I can snap some things too. All right, now, looking at this, don't these all look like they're just floating on this piece of paper? Well, with that, this view cube is important. I personally do not like the view cube, as I jokingly say I am view cube challenged. You can come in here and swing things around by picking the different areas as you need. But for myself, easier way for me to do any kind of rotating is I'm going to hold my shift down and I'm going to press the red scroll mouse. It's going to turn to an orbital pan and we're going to rotate. But I want you to see, check this out. Didn't all that look like it was just floating on that sheet of paper? But look at the different planes it's on. So it can be very, very deceiving if you're not careful. Look how these things aren't even next to each other. Kind of cool though. So we've got that all set up. Now, if I put it back to here so you can see it a little easier, doesn't it look like it's all the same? So this gives us some information. Now, we're going to do some other things with this. Let's come in here and let's manipulate this UCS so it's actually doing something to this one. Okay, remember, this one does it really simple. But what if you want this UCS to be sitting right on this face over here? They got a great one. It's called the UCS with 3 points. If you choose this one, see the little mark it comes out and says, okay, where do you want it to be your 0? My 0, 0, I want it to be here. Now it's going to ask me, hey, where do you want your X? Well, I think I want to go ahead and put my X right here. And now it says, where do you want your Y? Right here. By doing this, my UCS is sitting right there. So if I need to come in here and do something, I can come in here and attach maybe a cylinder, and I can go just like that. So now this face here is where all the things will be drawn. So when I'm drawing something, even if I draw something further back here, these are on the same face. Okay? So that's a great one. Another one with your UCS is amazing is going to be this one here, X, Y, or Z. This allows you to rotate your UCS whichever way you need. Such as, if I was to say I want to rotate my X, watch what happens. See how this comes this way and it goes back? So I can sit and I can type in an angle, I can pick, I can do a lot of different things. Remember, this is going to be our negative, this is going to be our positive. So we can change our UCS along those lines. Now watch what happens to my drawing. Look what happens now. See how that works? It's kind of crazy. So if we go here and we do our Y, now it's going to turn this way. See how it goes here? So if we do another cylinder, we're just going to get kind of crowded here, but it's a great way to see it. You see how that one is now going through this direction. And once again, I can come up here and I can do my Z. And now watch what it does. I can move my Z down here and I can do my cylinder. So now with the Z being changed, I'm setting there. Now, if this gets too confusing, I can go, hey, bring me back to the top, and you see it goes all the way back over there. Another great UCS is this one right here called Origin. What this one does is if you pick it, it actually seems to just pick up the UCS and you can drop it wherever your little heart wants it to be. So this one's a great one. If you said, hey, I need to draw right on this corner, I'd like this to be here, then you're good to go right there. So you got lots of things you can do with it. So those are basically my favorite. This one here is previous. So if I hit this one, it would go back to where I need it to be, and I can toggle back and forth. If you're working on, and see how it's switching all of them around, it just keeps taking you back, which is good. So this one gets us where we really need to be on the sides. This one does specifics. This does our previous. And then we have origin, where we just pick it up and go where we need it to be. I find these ones to be the most helpful ones right now, is origin, previous, X, Y, or Z, and our main one here. So these ones are great to have. Now, let's do one more thing. With this UCS, let's say we have moved this UCS somewhere very specific, and now we rotated it at a very specific angle, and it took us a long time to get this thing figured out. So if we do that, we can now save this UCS off by typing in UCS. We hit enter and go S for save, and we can call this such as slant. Once we have the slant set, check this out. It now adds it here. So if we're in the top, then we can come back here to slant. So it moves it that way. So that's all about our UCSs. We will we'll pick up again shortly. Thank you.